started. It is therefore very necessary to educate the public about the implications of various population factors. This is the only factor that is going to affect all the rest. If this factor is controlled, lethargic work may not hamper the other factors to much extent. Progress still could be seen after a time gap. Sir, another important implication is with regard to movement of rural population to urban areas and thus creating unnecessary pressure on urban life. It may not be possible for the urban areas to bear such pressure. I think the answer, therefore, would lie in containing the increased population in rural areas, employment, etc. The migration towards a particular direction has to be stopped so that resources could be utilized properly. Either way, the problem is going to be gigantic, and therefore the need for measures to check the population growth and make the people realize about the implications. Population education is not just the education for family planning, but it is the process which helps people to understand the implications of population factors for the well-being of the individual, the family, and society. The population factors include various population characteristics like size, composition, and distribution. Population's education also concerns with the characteristics like basic processes of births, deaths, and migration. Population education has to be made all pervasive. That is, it has to start right from the earliest age and continue much beyond the production age. Thus, it can be seen that the educational institutions will have to play the necessary role for providing opportunities to the students to know more about the population factors. The universities which will have to involve themselves in population education with the various objectives. At this stage, it appears that sex education would be a must in years to come, if not immediately. As indicated in the Food and Agricultural Organization documents, the objective will have to be to equip the individual with knowledge, skill, and understanding that enable him to assess population situations and trends in terms of problems that may come to himself, his family, and community and society in general, and decide on and take effective courses of action that can help solve the population related problems. It is the university which has to provide these opportunities. Therefore, steps have to be taken for giving these. Sir, I am grateful to you for permitting me to raise a matter of great public importance which has disturbed the entire country in the last 3 days. It is a matter of public importance which has come into public domain today in relation to the interference of a member of the Council of Ministers with the administration of justice. Sir, the fact which has come out is that a senior member of the judicial institution, a High Court judge, has now stated in open court publicly that a union minister has telephoned him in order to persuade him and pressurize him to grant anticipatory bail to a person who is accused in a case. This has obviously two implications. One implication is that it is an interference in the administration of justice. It straightway amounts to criminal contempt, and it is for the judicial institution to take action in that regard. The second is in relation to conduct of a public functionary who is a minister in the government and whose discipline as a minister is controlled by the Prime Minister. The Council of Ministers is collectively responsible for what the government does. But obviously, this appears to be an individual act of misdemeanor as far as the minister is concerned. Sir, a minister is a public functionary. He swears allegiance to the Constitution. He swears that he is bound to follow the Constitution. A minister is not a king. He is not a Raja that he is not accountable. A minister is a public servant, and therefore a minister is accountable, unlike a sovereign royalty who is not accountable. Here is a case of a minister telephoning a judge. The whole concept of separation of powers under the constitutions is completely smashed when this kind of an interference takes place. It is an irresponsible conduct, and it is for the government now to find out who this member of the Council of Ministers is, who has tried to interfere in the administration of justice. We need not wait only for the judge to name the minister. There are ways and means by which the Prime Minister can do it. The government can independently write to the Chief Justice of India, and the Prime Minister must write to the Chief Justice of India and ask for an inquiry, an administrative inquiry by the Chief Justice to inform the name. The Telecom Department can be asked to find out the details as to from which telephone the phone calls have been made to the telephone of the judge. All these inquiries can be made. The identity must be established, and such a minister must be held accountable. And the list that must take place is that once his identity is established, the Prime Minister must make a statement in the House and drop the minister from the Council of Ministers. ये कंटेंट 865 वर्ड का है और 4 नंबर है इसमें, 85 प्लस स्पीड है इसकी, और कॉमन वर्ड 2D का ये 4 नंबर है। अगर आपने ये अच्छा लिखा है ठीक है, टाइप करेंगे, और नहीं तो आप जो लिख के लाए हो या फिर स्पीकर पर आप लिखेंगे सीन कंटेंट को, वो भी अच्छा लिखा जाएगा। तो जो आप घर से लिखा है वो टाइप होगा, उधर बैठेंगे।